So this is Baruch Fleischman here, back at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel. Really turned on by this book by this a great man, Reb Yaakov Kronenberg. Spent years working on this book and delivering it to a world that's not looking for it. Very little background is available on Jewish astrology, other than that we know that all of the things that he lays out here are part of Jewish astrology because it's not talked about. The great yeshivas of Torah learning outside of the Sephardi world, and even in the Sephardi world, don't deal with this. So here comes a person, a bold person, and be able to deliver this to us. So he writes like this. I'm using an English translation and commentary of the Sefer Yetzirah written by Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan, who was an important Talmud Chacham who died at a young age in 1982. Had he been alive today, he would be amongst the top rabbis of our generation. He was an accomplished rabbi. He was a mathematician. And believe it or not, he was a top physicist. He had a PhD in physics. He had a vast knowledge base. I don't know where he got it. I'm trying to really understand because I've read the book as well. The book is absolutely fantastic. Where did he learn? Who did he learn from? He says, let's start on page 190 of Rabbi Kaplan's commentary, and it says like this is chapter 4, verse 16. He says like this. 2 stones build 2 houses. 3 stones build 6 houses. 4 stones build 24 houses. 5 stones build 120 houses. 6 stones build 620 houses. And 7 stones build 5,040 houses. So then the Sefer says like this. This is a translation, English translation of the Sefer Yetzirah. From here on, go out and calculate that which the mouth cannot speak and the ear cannot hear. Now, without reading what he's about to say, I'm not saying that I haven't read this before, but not lately, that he's saying that you could get found involved in numbers that are way, way, way beyond our ability to understand what's going on with them. And I think the idea also is that these numbers represent the light of God as it's coming to us and permeating throughout reality. So now Reb Yaakov writes like this. This text is written in code. What written does not make much sense. How can 3 stones make 6 houses? So he says it means that each house is built from 1/2 of a stone. I mean, is that possible? So you need the key to unlock the code, and our sages tell us that one of the ways of building the key is to start seeing the stones as the individual letters of the Hebrew alphabet, and that these stones come out from the great name of God. With this approach, we see that the Sefer HaYetzirah is explaining how permutations work and how letters build words, depending on how many letters you start with. For example, if you have 2 letters, the word A and the letter B, the letter A and the letter B, one can permute them into words in 2 ways. You could either have AB or BA. These are the 2 stones that build 2 houses. Now, let's go over just this word house. The concept of a house is the concept of a receptacle. So if we imagine that the light of God is shining through the letters, then we realize that the order of the letters is important as well. If one has 3 letters, that's A, B, C, letter A, letter B, and letter C, one makes 6 permutations, and here they are. It could be ABC, ACB, BAC, BCA, CA, BC, BA. Those are the 6 different combinations of 3 letters. So that's the concept. So 3 stones build 6 houses. In a similar way, 4 letters can be permuted into 24 words and 5 into 120. And it goes on and up to 7 letters that builds 5,040. Now, throughout this 4th chapter of the book, he is talking about the number 7. Okay, so there's more here than is easy for me to assimilate, but let's just look at that. Throughout the book, he talks about 7. 7 is the number of Malchus. If you know, in Kabbalah, it's Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. That's 6, and Malchus makes 7. So he says like this, and it goes up to 7 letters that build 5,040 words. After that, 8 times 5,040 will give you the next number, which is somewhere around, 45,000 different combinations. And then from there on, it goes astronomic. That's what he's trying to say. So he said, once again, throughout this 4th chapter of the book, he is talking about the number 7. He then goes on and says, from here on, go out and calculate that which the mouth cannot speak and the ear cannot hear. Over time, there have been 4 ways of approaching this book. On a philosophical level, on a Kabbalistic level, on a meditative level, and on an astrological level. Now, he showed me a meditative level. That's the Sulam Aliyah, which I learned with Reb Yaakov. So he says, so that over there is going to be like, how do you use these combinations? They can be used in different combinations to attain tremendous spiritual heights. So the book has served different purposes, and there are different ways that the book has been understood. Now, Rabbi Kaplan's commentary is unique in that it takes a combined meditative and Kabbalistic approach. For him, the stones are letters, and with 7 letters, you can permute 5,040 different words of 7 letters each. Now, get that. If you take 7 letters, you'll be dealing with 7 letters each because those are the stones. So you can make 5,040 different combinations of 7 letters. It would take about 3 hours. So if you wanted to do this and to understand what these people were doing and what it takes in order, say, for example, to create a golem or to heal someone or something like that, what is involved with that? He says here it is. He says it takes about 3 hours of concentrated meditation to cover these precise permutations, which is difficult but not impossible. But if you go up to 8 letters, then you're going to have 322,560 word combinations, which will take about 30 hours to pronounce and meditate on, which is more or less beyond normal human capabilities. Note that the Sefer Yetzirah does not start with the number 1. It starts with the number 2. 2 stones build 2 houses. This is because in Hebrew, 1 letter cannot build 1 word. The Vilna Gaon comments on this and bases his conclusion on the Kabbalistic principles of permutations. One more. The 5th level of Adam's chart has 12 permutations of God's name, which is this name, Yud K Vav K. And yet it has 4 letters, so it should be 120, but it's not. So, in other words, let's just go back and look at our drawing again. Here he's showing us a 4-letter name, which should be 120, but it's not. Instead, it's just 12. 1, 2, as if it was a 3-letter word. 3-letter word will make 12 permutations. So that's just a rule that we have to know, and if you go through Sulam Aliyah, then you'll get an idea what's going on over there. So let's go on a little bit more. So the 5th level of Adam has 12 combinations, permutations, as God named Yud K Vav K, and yet it has 4 letters. Usually 4 letters would give you 24 permutations. I said 120, I'm sorry, 24 permutations, but because 2 of the letters of the name are exactly the same, 2 times 2 hays, he says. We divide the total by 2, and are therefore only 12 unique permutations of God's name. And these 12 permutations will affect each month. They'll affect each month, the sign, the hour, the day. So for example, remember that we're saying, and to keep this in mind, that the birth chart is moving. It's not staying still. We're standing here in the earth, or sitting, I'm sitting right now reading this book. He says that, but the fact of the matter is we're moving, all of us, moving all the time. 1,000 miles an hour on top of this planet. But relatively speaking, it's as if we aren't moving at all. So he says like this. So for example, he says, the first 3 months in the chart of Adam have a permutation where the first letter of God's name, which is Yud, stays in first place, and the other 3 letters, they scramble around, are permuted into 3 words. So that's Yud K Vav K, which is Nisan, and then you have Yud K K Vav, which is Taurus, and Yud Vav K K. Remember that we're talking about the light of God, which shines from the outside in, shining through these letter combinations. Then the next one is Sivan Gemini, that's the one we just mentioned. So basically the Vav switches into position, its position. So the first season of the year, which is the 3 months of the spring, has its energy flow coming from God's name, starting with the letter Yud. Listen to that idea. So the flow of light at different times is starting with different letters. And the first month of the year, in the month of Nisan, the month in which the children of Israel were taken out of Egypt, which is the name Yud Ke Vav Ke. The second season of the year, which is summer, has 3 permutations, but these all begin with the first letter K in the name of God. K Vav Yud is for Cancer. K Vav Yud K is for Leo, and K Yud Vav is for Virgo. So the first Hey in God's name rules the summer. The second letter Hey in God's name rules the winter, and the last letter Vav in God's name rules the autumn. And we'll see how that works as we go on. This is Baruch Fleischman, and this is the Tikkun Elevator Kollel.